This conference will now be recorded.
Now can you see it or no?
No.
No. Okay.
We can roll without it though if it's too much trouble. I don't want to take up too
No.
much time.
If you change it, I kind of have to. You have to see the things. I think you would have.
I can. Do you want me to make you presenter on your other computer?
Yeah. If you can make me presenter, that would be helpful. Thank you. Okay.
1 second.
That's so strange.
Okay, your presenter. Now you should be presenter on your other computer.
Okay. I see you, but you don't see me. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. It was working earlier. I don't know how to get it to work now.
That's okay.
Maybe.
Oh,
Yeah.
we can see it.
You can see my computer?
We can see your screen now. We see Most Admire CEOs, Stacy Wade.
Okay.
Oh, and it disappeared.
I have no
We saw
idea.
it first for a moment.
I have no idea why. Now you can see it or no?
No, we only saw it just for a minute.
Okay. Okay. I'm not sure why. I don't know why we're having such issues. I'm sorry, but I'll just continue talking.
We can share the PowerPoint later. We can see it now. So just continue talking and maybe we'll see it sometimes and sometimes we won't.
You can see it now.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so there's Stacy Wade. I'm not sure exactly why you can see it and why you can't, and which computer I should touch and which I shouldn't. Okay, so when we look at brain research, hopefully you're seeing a brain, but if not, we're just going to be looking at Stacy the whole time. I'm not sure. Is it changing or no? No. Okay. So when we're talking, we're going to look at the picture of the brain, and I'm not sure why it's not working, but when we talk about the brain, we had Michelle Miller come and discuss what we know about the brain and what we know about memory retention. And when we're talking about making meaningful writing assignments, we want a brain-friendly environment. And so we want to create environments that are going to create a sense of belonging and attachment. This is the first thing. We need a sense of belonging and attachment. We need a sense of mastery and achievement, not just for their grade, but for the students to really see that there is a connection between themselves and what they are able to master. We also want to create a sense of independence and autonomy, and a sense of generosity and altruism. And are you able to see the screen or still no screen?
We can still see Stacy Wade.
Okay.
Oh, now it's on the brain. Now it's switched. We can see it now.
Okay. Okay. So like I was saying, we want to create this environment that has these 4 components in it. And when I was growing up, I remember going home as a latchkey kid and watching Oprah Winfrey. And I remember that she said, after 20 years of connecting with audiences, of really diverse audiences, that she said that people want to be seen and heard. And that is what we need to bring back to our classrooms. When we think about developing meaningful writing assignments, we have to think about how are we connecting with the student? How are we allowing the student to show who they are and what makes them unique? What are they going to bring to the workforce? What makes them them? So yes, we have to meet our accreditation standards, but we also have to give them a way to express themselves. And seeing that there's a lot of creative people today in this workshop, that makes a lot of sense. But in other fields, it doesn't necessarily connect. We have our agenda, students have their agenda, and so I'm a huge fan of reflection. And after every assignment, hopefully we embed a way for students to express themselves in the writing assignment. But if we're not able to do that, I'm a huge fan of reflection. And so some of the reflection prompts that I would use, I thought maybe I could share some of the reflection prompts. And if you're not embedding reflection, and I embed reflection in almost every single unit that I teach, and I have found that I've gotten to know my students on a really personal level, and they have said that they are growing as people, and as growing as people, they have more to offer their workspace. So one thing they might sound cliched to you, but I say, what are 3 ways that you've grown as a result of this assignment? Describe something major that you've learned about yourself in this assignment. What was one of the most meaningful things that you learned about this assignment? And those may sound cliche. And then I tune into what we know from brain research. What was your biggest achievement in this assignment? And we're going to talk, hopefully we'll have enough time. I'm going to share some of the assignments that I've created. I have the students create infographics. We embrace a lot of technology in BSHS. And a lot of the students are very afraid to embrace the technology, but they need to do that in order to meet this century's workforce. And so I want my students to feel accomplished, and so they need to speak to that at the end of their assignments. What did you learn by creating this assignment, and what does it say about you? So helping students see the positive traits in themselves is really going to help for them to know when they go on interviews what their biggest achievements are. What was their biggest achievement in completing this assignment, or what is their biggest achievement in life? And what risks did you take in this assignment? And this really is not just for the fields where we're working with our hands and creating things. This is in everything. This is in the sciences. This is in math. This is in history. That we should be instilling this into all of our liberal arts studies, into every program, for students to identify what their biggest achievements is, what their strengths and their challenges, and what risks they took. So it's not just, here's my writing, you're asking me to write about this subject, I'm writing about this subject. It goes deeper than that. And if we offer the students a way of, what did I learn? I need, I wonder. Give students the opportunity to say, this is also more of what I want. This is what I'd like to explore further. This is how I improved, what areas I improved. If I were to start this assignment over, this is what I would do differently. And hopefully it's not just, I wouldn't stay up until 2 in the morning. Hopefully it's like, well, they've gotten feedback because we're writing through revision. I often will scaffold my assignments throughout the entire session. So they're writing through revision at least maybe 5 times sometimes. And they're exploring what they would like to get to at that place. I believe that we need 4 components in order to create a meaningful space with meaningful writing assignments. And the first thing is safety. And so if we can create a safe environment, which involves trust, that has to happen before the learning takes place. So even in my icebreakers, I have open discussions, and I ask them, this is a first date kind of question, like, if you were to meet someone famous, dead or alive, who would you meet and what would you ask them? And I encourage, through that, we hit on a lot of different demographics of people, and the learning materials that I'm presenting represent a lot of different demographics of people. And that, I think, helps to create that safe space. And that helps for students to know that they are respected. So on top of engaging and reflecting, we bring the energy to this space. And by bringing the energy, we are setting the tone. And that's where that serotonin, when we were looking at the brain, and there's 4 neurochemicals that stimulate when we are talking about engagement, when we're talking about meaning. Serotonin is going to be the living room. And if we set the tone, if we bring into the classroom why we're so passionate about our work, the students will become passionate. My dad's a retired educator. Some of you might have met him. And he used to give his students who were illiterate and as adults were learning how to read and write, he would have them do a writing assignment about their obituary. And when I was asking him about this presentation, he said that was always his favorite assignment because he got his students to really be challenged and reflect and see what they would like, what they imagine their future selves to look like. And I think that that would be something for us to consider as well if you don't already. How are we doing with time, Lizzie?
We are at 11:56.
Okay, we're doing all right. So here's the support challenge matrix. And on the bottom, you can see that there's the axis of challenge, and on the top, there's the axis of support. And we want the students to find the task sufficiently challenging where they believe that they're going to be able to accomplish something by doing it, but we don't want to introduce too much challenge. And I go back to this after I write my assignments. And I say, am I providing enough support? Because at the bottom of this axis, at the bottom of this matrix, you can see low support, high challenge. Our students are going to become really frustrated. And then on the low support, low challenge, they're going to become really apathetic. And that's where we begin to see students who aren't engaging in the writing process. We're having to push them. They're not submitting on time. It's probably because they're not challenged and they're not having support aside from other life issues. On the top, if we provide too much support and we make it too easy for them, then they're going to continue to write the same thing and we're not going to see that growth. So I would say this is a reminder for us to provide enough support and enough challenge. I'm going to kind of quickly go through this section here, but this slide here is supposed to give us a reminder that we can hand students the map and say, okay, this is where you're supposed to go. These are the instructions, but we really haven't given them the meaning. And it's so critically important for us to give them why they are doing the assignment. You are doing this assignment and really elaborate because you are going to use this skill in this way, because it's going to prepare you for what's coming up in Unit 2. Because in the workforce, this is how you're going to use it. So I prefer to use the GPS model, where we say, first you turn left at the Thorntons, then you turn right, and you go on I-65 for about 10 miles, and then you're going to turn here. We give them really useful, concrete explanations of where they're going. And with that, we often hear to use rubrics, but I say tailor your rubric to the specific assignment. Over and over, when I'm looking at different materials outside of our university, I see that professors are using the same rubric. It's a writing rubric, but they're using the same rubric for every writing assignment. I would encourage you to go further, because what sometimes we end up seeing is that students, they're not writing what we would like. They're not capturing the essence of how it connects back, what makes it meaningful. And that's because the rubric does not specifically speak to that assignment. So if you have different rubrics for all of your writing assignments, that's great. But if not, I would say to try to tailor it so that that includes the reflection, that includes what they've learned, that includes whether you have a clinical experience or a project, and get them to connect what they're supposed to get out of their writing assignment to their rubric. So now we're talking about who are you? And my favorite thing when I'm developing assignments, and when I was developing assignments for QEP, is to use interactive tools. And there are a lot of interactive tools. For example, when I teach population health, I use Robert Wood Johnson Foundation's community assessments. It shows, and my students will use the interactive tools to see how their city ranks against the state, how their city ranks against the state, how the state ranks against the nation. I use implicit bias studies from Harvard University, and I would encourage us to continue to use these interactive tools. I have them write infographics. I have them build their own app, build a business plan for an app. I have them come up with, you know, not building the app from a technological standpoint, but what would the app do? What communities would it serve? I have them do interactive poverty simulations. These are all free interactive resources. And then I create my writing assignments based on that. And the reason why I do that is because I want them to get to know their community. I want to get them to know themselves. And this doesn't just apply to the health sciences. So when they are learning from these interactive tools, and there are many, they are able to understand the workforce and the community that they're going to go in and work with and serve in whatever capacity once they graduate. And so I would highly recommend that you use the interactive tools. If there's someone here from history, Josh Poe's work is phenomenal. I could think of like 10 different ways to use Josh Poe's work with his redlining. It's widely available on the health department. And it explains how our city got to be the way it is, why there's such a divide, why there's such inequity in our city. And that's one example. But I would say that I would highly encourage for us to start using interactive tools. And the more options, the better. When I get, and I know that I'm running low on time, I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Spurr in a few minutes. But when I give my students options of writing assignments, when Charles and I sat down for the stigma, or I think it was stigma, or maybe it was the healthcare institutions, he mentioned that there was a blog on NPR about healthcare and that there were a variety of options. We had them write about these blogs that are on NPR, and they could choose any of them. When I have my students write about LGBTQ communities and health equity, I give them the Fenway Institute. There's variety of resources. They're all good. Some are related to trans individuals, some are related to older adults, some are related to communication and pronouns, but the students get to pick and choose. And it's really important that we give our students the ability to pick and choose. And the last thing I was going to say about this, I hate that I'm cut short, maybe we can have part 2 at some point, but it's, you can use your same material in different formats. And the one way that I've done that recently is in health policy. So our students are writing a health policy brief. It's a 6-piece health policy brief, and it's scaffolded. And so if you're not familiar with scaffolding, then we can talk about it more, but basically you take a larger assignment and you break it up into smaller pieces. And so each unit, I've broken up the writing assignment and they're writing through revision. So they're going to actually revise 5 different times. We're engaging the writing center. The writing center can give them feedback and I give them feedback. That material is then, the students have to practice by giving that material into an infographic. So they have to present the same exact material in a different way. I have them use that material in an elevator speech. I have them use that material in a 1-pager. So they're writing with the same material in different ways. They're not doing research over and over on 5 different topics. They're doing research once and they're presenting it in 5 different ways. And that is one session of 5 different ways of presenting content. So they have 5 different skills that they've learned throughout the session. And I'm going to hand this over because I want to make sure that we have enough time for Dr. Spurr. Dr. Spurr, are you on the call?
I'm here. I'm going to change the presenter to me.
Okay.
I just saw myself there.
I just made you the presenter, Patty.
Great, thanks. Okay, I am, can y'all see my screen? Okay. Erica was going to give kind of the theory and background and overall, and then I'm putting in the practical. So I love with these Bitmoji classroom shells. And I, as you can see, I made my own little self there. That is not my dog. But the nice part about this, one of the things with teaching online is that I'm trying really hard to shake things up and to make things not so dull, because everything's just like white backgrounds. So, but I heard some time ago about simulations. Don't write your own. There's plenty out there. And there are so many sites that will give you assignments to get you going. It's really crazy to spend time writing them up yourselves. If you've never seen Merlot, it is they collect all different kinds of, can you all see the cover for this? They will, I guess maybe I'll put it over here. You go in and you pick whatever discipline you want, and there's a bazillion different assignments and such that people have shared. Then another one that will give you the CDC train. It is more than just healthcare related. It will have, like, there's ethical discussions in there. There are leadership, a lot of leadership, and they're learning modules. Another place where you can find a lot of assignments already developed is Teachers Pay Teachers. And it is, actually, I just went on, I don't know about you all, but we require students to do APA, and unfortunately, they don't ever seem to get it, and it's how much should we be requiring them to do. So I went on this yesterday, and somebody had put a whole module together related to APA, and I think it was $3.50. I thought that's going to save me a ton. So you can go through here and pick, like higher ed. You can go in and write in topics. One of the things that I think we probably need to become more aware of is our individuals in K through 12. With them moving to all online, the amount of resources out there are unbelievable in pictures. This Ditch that textbook. I love this man. He has a lot of different, he's written a couple textbooks or books for faculty, but he also on his site has a bazillion different 100 remote learning activities, templates, and tutorials. In some ways, a lot of what's on the web can get a little overwhelming, all your different options. If Educate is more of an organization that will provide articles and such, Erica had sent me an article from them, and it was the top 10 things, like how many times you'll have students that they can't upload their assignment, or I can't get onto this site. And so there was an article that had the top 10 things to do, like close out of that browser, pick something else. And so I had made that up into a handout. I'm going to put it on all of our Canvas shells to say, before you call IT, before you call help, try these things. Pinterest, if you've never tried Pinterest, I'm a Pinterest-aholic. At night, I'll sit with the television, and I have made, I'll look at concepts. So like I'll get things related to education, related to psychosocial. There's all kinds of things on here that will help you to identify how you can use Pinterest. I use it a great deal for, I'll show you my lists. I have like teaching teaching bitmojis about how to do assignments. I got concepts. Well, I also have some recipes in there. Assignments, portfolios, escape rooms have become really popular and fairly easy to develop. So there's all kinds of things in there for that. Flipgrid, if you have not used Flipgrid, it's a way to take the current news that's going on and incorporate into a blog or such that the students contribute to it. The other one, this Ed Puzzle, this you can take any YouTube video and interject questions. So I don't know if you're like me, but I sometimes wonder when I have videos on my class, did anybody even look at them? So you can pull up a video, and there's quite a few that are already made. And they'll have, like this one in particular is infectious diseases. There's 4 questions embedded. So you can use physical benefits of physical activity. There's 9 questions embedded. So it's a way of making sure that your students are watching the videos as you assign them. And I cannot remember who it was. There was a gentleman, I think he taught in business, and he made the comment at a presentation once that if we don't, he gives a lot of little quizzes, or otherwise we don't know if they've done the reading, if they've captured what we really want them to know. And I need to begin to incorporate more of that in there. I've also given you a link to free bit emoji screens, which I am just in love with. Then let me go on to the next one. Then I have developed a Dropbox, and I put the link into the into the chat so that you can access these different features that I have taken several online teaching courses, and gives you the opportunity to keep track of, why am I really doing this? Am I doing too much of one? You know, I don't know about you all, but I get really tired of, we do a discussion, and then we do, you know, like maybe a short paper, or to try, how can we mix it up? So I'm giving you this assignment log. Down this list, there's probably 30, obviously not totally inclusive of everything you could do. But then you look at your course, and by the unit or the course, you decide, where am I doing these? What units am I doing them in? To see if we're given a wide variety of choices. I've also given you a document that's called Bloom's Planning Sheet, so that you can take your course objectives and identify, obviously, what level of Bloom it is, but more importantly, what type of activities would fit with that level, with that objective. I don't know about you all, sometimes I go a little brain dead and keep using the same stuff over and over again. Then I've also given you a packet of instruction sheets. This is an assignment template that I've made that I use in all of my courses. And it's, when I've looked back at my assignments, they are very sparse. And I think I did not give them enough information to be able to be successful in this. And then they're asking questions, and I should have been more clear. So Eric had already mentioned this. I don't know about you all. One of my pet peeves is busy work. And so I try really hard to make sure that every assignment has a reason behind it. Why am I asking you to do this? Then to give them a place for instructions, and then how's it going to be graded? Posting, I've also begun to add in there under resources, anything that's related to Canvas, as far as how to upload an assignment, how to add to a discussion board, so that way it's right there, and I embed the little video. So it's like, don't tell me you can't upload an assignment. Did you watch the Canvas video? And hopefully that'll cut down on a lot of those. Because there'll be a lot of students, they'll say, I just can't figure it out, I want to email it to you. Nope, we're not accepting email. If you do email it to me, then it's going to be automatically 25% off of your grade. And start right at the very beginning, because it's got to be enough points that it hurts. But I've known in the past, my husband used to always say that emails were a one-way ping. So you ping them to somebody, but you have no idea if they actually received them. And if you're all like me, I get so many emails every day, it's easy to get lost in what that is. So this packet of information I have for you all has all different types of assignment sheets that I have come upon from other organizations. So I hope you all like my bid emoji. See, I even have myself here sitting on this chair. Aren't you impressed? And there's a billion of them out there that you can just use. And then add in, you can even put, which is what I'm going to do, is you can put the links, let's say, to a reading. What I'd like to do is have one page for your learning activities for the online class. Have any YouTube videos, you can just put them there and put like a little snapshot. You can also then link to any paper if you have readings, assignments, and have them all on one place. Try to jazz things up a little bit. It's funny, there was one bid emoji screen that I saw that the teacher was sick, and she's like in the bed, and sorry, I'm out sick today. But the amount of time that people have put into making these things is like, here's one for us, anybody that's a John Lennon fan. That one I used. This one, a little bit too pink for me, but it would definitely fit. Then here's one more elementary. Here's one. This would be a good one. The John Lennon. So there's tons of these out there that you can just download and just start working on. So it's kind of adds a little bit of excitement. And I realize K through 12, they're probably doing more synchronous and we're doing more asynchronous, but these are all ways that we've tried. Erica had pointed out that at the end of every assignment or unit, we have a what's in it for me, and the students are required to talk about what did they learn, how do they think they could use this in the future, what didn't work, what would they like us to change. And I've been reading, Erica had encouraged this little small, it's called Small Teaching Online. It is a great little book. It's a pretty quick read. One of the things that I'm going to incorporate in is a final one that's for the course. What are the most significant things out of the course that you've got? And so kind of a summative, what's in it for me. So
Dr. Spurr, do we want to open it up to questions?
So Diago, this is the other thing, and Donna, I'm glad, is Donna still on here? No. Diago is a bookmarking, web service, and it's free. You can buy it. I have never upgraded to it. I just use the free version. But the nice part about this is that as a faculty member, I have developed sites that when the students all contribute articles they found, what sites they had. More importantly, Spalding has a faculty, I'm trying to figure out how to get to it. Spalding has a faculty Diago site where people can put up sources. Now, I figured out this morning that Terry Schnoen used to be in School of Ed. She is the creator of it. So obviously we can't, and actually it hadn't been added to, I think, since Jan Poston left to go to Bellarmine. But I would love for us to have something that we could, you tag items on there. So we've come up with a series of tags, and then we could all be sharing. It's really crazy for us all to continue to reinvent the wheel and talk about, to be able to find a place where we can share great resources. There's a website that I had access to, and for the life of me, I cannot find it. But it must have it has a bazillion different types of assignments and how you can develop them. And I will eventually locate it if it's the last thing I ever do. And but this is another way to collect. I don't know, I think Chrome has gotten better, but it used to be when you'd log in, whatever you bookmarked on that computer, you couldn't access other places. This Diago, you can access anywhere. And I've used it with groups, I've used it with classes to say, what do you work, what have you found? So that's it for me. So I guess I will unshare my screen.
Great, and we can open it up for questions now. I know we just have about 5 minutes, but anyone who has a question, feel free to chime in. So I have a question from Jeff Bile. Has anyone used perusal annotation? Heard about it at a conference?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it sounds like Diageo, I don't know how to pronounce that. And yeah, I just think as I heard it described, it would be really useful, a very helpful way of making sure the students are engaging with the reading, a little bit like the embedded questions are engaging them in the video, making sure they're watching it.
Right.
The way I heard it described sounded really great. I was wondering if anybody used it, because I think it would solve a lot of my problems.
I have used it in the past and had students to add to. I would also put links in there of other resources that I had found for them. And the other thing is they would always have access to it unless I closed the group down. So they could always go back and find, oh, what did I use in that other course? And they'd be able to link it to that. So I think the students found it helpful.
Thank you. Other questions?
I have a question. Those, are you able to put those pages, like where it had you sitting there, your avatar, are you able to put those on your Canvas
Yes.
site?
You'll save it as a ping or a JPEG and then load it up just like you would any picture.
Okay. Thank you.
This one I did in Google Slides just because that's what the tutorial I was going through used Google Slides, but then I saved them as PowerPoint, and then but I did load it into a Canvas shell this morning, and all my links came in as I had saved it. So I think it's fun personally. There's that one I showed that's got, the teacher's got the mask on. I added in the little quote at the top right, and I had made this particular one for our new certificate program coming in, and I had a picture of an of a helicopter, and then I had put the title underneath as far as what it was about, so that would be the home page when they pulled up the Canvas shell. The home page would be this.
One thing I would just like to say at the end of when wrapping up the meaningful writing assignments is thinking about who's having our students write meaningful writing assignments. The meaningful writing project was a study that was done on 3 different major universities, about 700 students. They used to have an active website. I don't think the website's active. And they identified that about half the students were writing meaningfully in their major and in their senior year. But when you looked at electives and general education courses, the percents fell to 17 and 29% respectively. And I feel like with QEP, we've really had a 5-year great initiative of trying to get the students, but to keep that momentum, because I feel like what we have is a sandwich where in the beginning, in the English courses, we're writing, and in the end, we're writing. But I don't know, because I don't teach in the middle, but my concern would be, and maybe this is already happening, I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus, but making sure that the sandwich, that the middle, where there's so much expectation of preparing students for their majors, that we're still getting those meaningful writing assignments in that sophomore junior year, as well as in the graduate program in the middle, in the sandwich. And so that's the last little thing that I would leave everyone with. I'm sorry we had tech issues. I can't tell you how many times I've practiced this. And we teach fully online, and so I feel so badly. But Dr. Spurr, I just like to praise her. She is the most creative, coolest person I think I've ever worked with. Her Bitmojis and everything. It really is important that the way that we present our work engages the student. And so I was really excited that she brought that innovative technological side, because you could have the greatest assignment, but it's not presented in the right way, you're going to lose your students, right? And so I would just like to thank Dr. Spurr so much for bringing that, and thank Lizzie for having us.
Thank both of you for being here. And if Erica and Patty, if you want to send me your PowerPoints, I'll send the links out to everybody on this call. I'll also make them available in our learning workshops archives. So if you have other folks who want to find them, that's where they can find them on the QEP website, as well as this recorded talk. Thank you, everyone, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you, Lizzie, Patty, and Erica. This is awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you.